Hello, this is Scott Horton, Territory Agronomist for North Mississippi with Bayer Crop Sciences in the Hill region of Mississippi. Today I'm going to talk to you about soybeans and our soybean product lineup. I'm going to specifically talk to you about the Group 5 soybeans. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about the plot that we're standing in and the soybeans that we're in right now and how we conduct and evaluate these varieties. So in this plot here, we're in Scott, Mississippi. We're on extremely productive, fertile land, and we have our entire product lineup planted out here. The main thing that we get out of this besides yield on a soil type like this is we get to see how large these soybeans will get. And so as you can see looking behind me, I'm about 6 feet tall, and you can see right now that we've got soybeans that are right at my chest. So having soybeans positioned on land like this gives us an idea about standability, and you'll hear me talk about standability for each one of the products that I'm going to discuss. But in terms of yield, these beans were planted on May the 7th, and so they're pretty much planted on time. They've accumulated a lot of heat. They're on real productive ground, so they've gotten a lot of height. As we look down in the canopy of these soybeans, we can see that they've started to put on pods. They're starting to add weight and move closer to maturity. But we're going to go down and specifically talk about the Group 5s now. The first soybean that we're going to talk about today is the Asgrow 52X9. And just as a reminder for everybody, the way that these varieties are named, the first two letters, AG, of course, stands for Asgrow. The first two numbers, 5-2, stand for the maturity of the soybean. The X stands for that it is an Xtend variety. And the last number, the 9, is the year of release. So this soybean would have been an Asgrow 5.2 maturity group, an Xtend bean released in 2019. You can see the 52X9 that we have here. It's a little bit taller bean. I mentioned that, in terms of standability, this bean has gotten tall here, but it does stand very well on lighter dirt. It is suited for clay, but I do like to see this bean on lighter dirt, especially in the hills of Mississippi. It performs really, really well. It also has excellent tolerance to stem canker and very good tolerance to sudden death. That's the 52X9. The next soybean that we're going to come up to is the Asgrow 53X0. This is a pretty new soybean. This is the first year that we've had it in plots around on any type of acreage where we're going to get a really good idea of where it fits. Our preliminary data says it goes across all soil types. It can stand irrigated or dry land conditions. You can see that it does have a lot of height to it. The 5.2 and this 5.3 are indeterminate beans, so they're going to go on and get some height. We've actually seen, as tall as this is on light dirt, you might think that it might have some potential to lodge or fall over, but we've seen it standing very well in preliminary data last year. And so far this year, as you look out across these beans, they're really tall, but so far nothing has started to lodge, nothing's on the ground. It looks really, really good. So we're going to follow up that 53X0 with the 53X9. It's a little bit shorter bean than the 53X0. It's good across all soil types. It can go on heavy clay or it can go on lighter dirt, but I really do like to see this 53X9 planted on clays that are irrigated. This bean can also handle poorly drained clays. And so if you've got a field that you have problems with drainage, this is a good bean to think about if you're looking for something in that indeterminate 5 range. It has very good disease tolerance across all our southern diseases and is a really, really good option, especially in the Mississippi Delta where we're looking at sharky clay soils and things that can stay wet for a long time. The last soybean that I'm going to talk about is a little bit older product, is a 55X7. This was released in 2017. It's been on the market for a long time. We've had a lot of success. Growers have had a lot of success using this soybean. This is where we move in terms of our lineup from the indeterminate bean to the determinate bean. It doesn't look as drastic as you look out here in the field. You would think that the determinacy of this soybean would drive it to be a little bit smaller, and that is usually the case. That's not the case specifically in this field, but it's a mid-5 determinate bean, and this is where we start to pick up our root knot resistance. So if you're in a situation where you need root knot resistance in a soybean, this is going to be our soybean that we're going to recommend to combat the root knot nematodes. Some people have a problem with how short it can be. This isn't a specific situation where it is short. If it is planted a little early, you can see this bean have trouble lapping a wide middle. We like to see it on twin row or a little bit narrower row spacing, but it is an excellent yielding bean and it gives us that root knot tolerance that a lot of people are looking for. So that's our Group 5 lineup. We expect to have very good supply of these soybeans If any of these beans fit your farm, please call one of your local Asgrow agronomists and we can help you with more placement.